Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to day 6 of Let's Learn Together. Today I thought it would be fun to do some baking, and today we're going to do some soft pretzels from scratch. Alright, so some of our ingredients we're going to need today are water, flour, brown sugar, some active dry yeast, baking soda, some melted butter, and some salt for sprinkling. Okay, so some of the materials you're going to need as well are a mixing bowl, some measuring cups, and as well some measuring spoons. Now we're going to preheat our oven to 425 to make sure it's nice and ready for us when we are ready to put those in the oven. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead here and put 3 cups of flour into my mixing bowl. Next, we're going to take our brown sugar and add in 3 tablespoons into the flour mixture. Okay, so now it's time to add in our dry active yeast. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of active yeast into our mixture. Alright, so the next step is to add our water in. We're going to add 1 1/4 cup of water, and I used room temperature water for this process. Okay, so our next step is to mix everything all together. For this portion of this task, I used my hand mixer until it was mixed together as a dough, and then I used my hands for the rest. Okay, so now I'm going to take a 1/2 cup of flour, and I'm just going to take that and sprinkle it over my counter space, so when I put the dough down to knead, it doesn't stick all over the counter space. If you're finding your mixture before this is still a little bit too sticky or it's way too dry, go ahead and add gradually a tablespoon of flour or a tablespoon of water to your mixture, and that should help you out during that process. Okay, and now we're going to take our dough and we're going to knead it for 5 minutes. Next, now that we have this all kneaded together, we're going to put this in our bowl, and we're going to put a dish towel over top and let it rise. I added mine to the stove top with the stove burners being off, just to give it some heat to help with the active dry yeast and rising. Okay, so after 15 minutes, we're going to take it out of the bowl and put it back on the counter space that we have sprinkled with flour. So for the next part, we're going to section off our dough into what we're going to use for our pretzels. So I sectioned mine into 6. You can make this more or less depending on how many pretzels you want to make, and if you want to make pretzels or pretzel bites. Okay, so next we're going to roll out those sectioned off dough pieces into a long snake-like fixture, and now we're going to twist it into a pretzel shape. You'll have to excuse me as I am trying to do this with one hand, but this is a really great activity as well for fine motor skill development. Now you're going to want to make sure you grease your baking sheet before you add your pretzels. Now you can go ahead and add your pretzel and put it right on your baking sheet, and repeat the process until your baking sheet is full. So for the size I chose, I was able to get 4. So the next step is we're going to take some butter that we've melted and just drizzle it on top of the pretzels. Now we're going to add some salt on top of each pretzel just to give them a little bit of flavor. After the salt is all placed on, we're ready for the oven. We're going to cook these for about 8 to 12 minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to try a different way to make the pretzels, as I had some dough left over. You're going to bring your water to a maximum heat. I used a big stew pan. Now we're going to take our leftover dough and chop it into little chunks and roll them into about 1 to 2 inch sized balls. This is what they should look like when you're done. We're going to carefully gather them together and put them into our mixing bowl that we had prior. Now you can go ahead and add your rolled balls into the boiling water. Be very careful with this step as the water can splash. Now this step is very quick. We're only going to do this for about 15 to 30 seconds until all of the balls have risen, and then we're going to scoop them out of the water. Just going to do a quick check on our other pretzels, and they look like they are doing fantastic. Now after the boiling, we're going to put them on a greased cookie sheet. And now we're just going to add these to the oven with our other pretzels, again for 8 to 12 minutes. Our other pretzels are looking great, but I think I'm going to give them a few more minutes. And there you have it, some easy pretzels that you can make at home for a fun activity. I found that actually using the boiling water made them soft on the inside, so I would totally recommend doing that strategy. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you all tomorrow for some more learning. Bye!